Hello, welcome to Escaping the Echo Chamber. Today I want to discuss the incident at the Capitol. Some people are calling it a riot, insurrection, domestic terrorism, an attempted coup, treason, sedition, and some people are calling it a mostly peaceful protest. But I want to discuss why. Why did they do it? Before we discuss this, I just want to do something really quickly, really briefly. I just want to close my eyes, and you're more than welcome to join me in doing this. Close my eyes and just take 3 deep breaths. Now, the reason why I did that is because I find when discussing particularly politics, things can get really volatile. Things can get heated. A lot of vitriol, rage, hatred, very negative emotions and very heightened emotions can be displayed. And so can be displayed, can be felt. And so I feel it's necessary, especially if you want to understand somebody, especially if I want to understand somebody, it's important for me to take a step back from my emotions so that I can actually hear them. Because emotions act like a filter, and if I'm hearing what they're saying through that filter, a lot of times I'm not actually hearing what they're saying. I'm responding with what I'm feeling as opposed to listening to what the other person is saying. So I really want to put myself in a position to better understand the Trump supporters that were in DC last week and why they did it. I know a lot of people don't really want to discuss things anymore. They don't even want to debate. They just want to destroy, but that's not why I'm here. So let's get into it. Let's ask the question. Were they just a bunch of sore losers who are mad that their guy didn't win? And for that question, I ask anybody who was a Hillary supporter. Were you just a sore loser when Hillary lost? Because after Hillary lost, I remember the night Hillary lost. We were in the bar celebrating our own end of campaign, the campaign I had worked on. So we're having our event, and there were Hillary supporters there. And as we're watching the results roll in, and it's looking like Donald Trump should have already been beaten, but he's just creeping. Florida's about to come out, and then when the numbers start dropping, and there's this young woman who I didn't know her, and she comes up to me and she's got her eyes are starting to tear up, and she says, "No, I can't believe this. This can't be happening. No, this can't be happening. How?" Like, she was visibly upset. And she wasn't the only person, because on the way home, I'm in the train station here in New York City. And again, people are just, strangers are just walking up to other people just like, "Oh, we can't believe," they couldn't believe it. And they were like devastated. Another young woman walks up to me and she's been crying. And you can see it, her mascara is running. And she says, "What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" Was she just a sore loser? No. She was afraid. She was afraid of what that meant, of what Donald Trump's presidency would mean for the country. She was afraid of what was going to happen, the effect it was going to have on her life and millions of other lives. So if you were one of those people that as a result said, not my president, as a result you said, I'm part of the resistance, I implore you, I ask you, I beg you, just stop. Take a few deep breaths. And then realize the possibility, just the possibility, that these people who supported Trump aren't just sore losers. They're afraid. They're worried about what it means for the country. They believe that Donald Trump was good for the country. They believe that Donald Trump was good for their lives. And now they are worried that Joe Biden, the effect that Joe Biden's presidency will have on the country, will have on their lives, is not going to be a good one. It's going to be devastating to their lives. They're worried. I just ask you to just consider that possibility. So you probably say, though, well, they're wrong. Joe Biden is clearly a better president, and their concerns are ridiculous. They don't mean anything. I hear you. I hear you. But once again, I want to look at things from somebody else's perspective. Because if that's your perspective, cool. The question is, why do they believe that Donald Trump is good for the country? Let's just take a look at, before COVID hit, things appear to be going pretty well for a lot of people. The doomsday, the worst case scenario that we had envisioned before COVID hadn't materialized. Because quite frankly, a lot of us thought that Trump had no chance and that it was just going to be utter chaos. We expected the year of COVID to be the entire 4 years, and that didn't transpire. So that is something that they're carrying with them, because they feel, hey, Donald Trump was great for the country. But it's a little bit deeper than that. You're dealing with people that didn't trust the media. And if you take a look at the media's track record, you realize the media's been pretty crappy, and there's a lot of reasons for us not to trust it. But even more compelling for people that the media is just speaking of dismissively. So if the media is just talking about you as you're just nobodies, you're just dumb, uneducated, then you're not really going to be listening to the media or taking what they're saying at face value. And Donald Trump knew this, and Donald Trump exploited this. Donald Trump saw people that felt slighted, unseen, dismissed, marginalized. Right or wrong, this is what they felt. And Donald Trump went to them and said, I see you. I feel for you. I feel your pain. I acknowledge you. I value you. I respect you. And even last week he told them he loved them. That's a powerful thing. That is how Donald Trump managed to get these people to believe him, to follow him. Have you ever seen someone who feels unattractive and just not wanted, and then that guy will come along and say, oh, you're the most beautiful woman in the world? That woman will come along and say, oh, you're so handsome, you're so suave, and they just become completely enchanted. So once that person makes them feel so special, so wanted, so desired, that person can tell them anything. Their family can tell them this person's no good, this person's using you. But none of that matters because that person has gotten to them and just put them under their spell. That's what you're dealing with Trump supporters. Donald Trump manipulated people. He knows how to manipulate people. He's good at it. And that's what he did. That's why they followed him. That's why they believed him. And that's why, despite what the media was saying, they didn't want to hear what the media said because they didn't trust the media. But what Donald Trump said, that's what mattered to them. And I know a lot of people say, well, they're stupid. These people are stupid. That they shouldn't believe that. And I'm going to say, well, they're human. That's the way humans are wired. That's the way we are wired. Now, we can get past that, but it takes active reasoning to be able to resist that sort of enchantment, that sort of manipulation. And quite frankly, none of us are immune. Even if we manage to resist it in certain areas, somebody often manages to get past our blind spots or get into our blind spots and successfully manipulate us. But if you don't want to accept that they were manipulated, you don't see why they were manipulated, how they manipulated, I ask you to look at one more thing. Do you think that they just were enchanted with Donald Trump and felt that, okay, yeah, he lost, but we want him to be president anyway? He got less votes than the other guy, but we're still going to do what we want to do to make sure that he stays president for the next 4 years or forever. Do you believe that? Do you believe that the intention of the people that showed up in DC to support Donald Trump were there because they believed that Donald Trump lost the election and they wanted him to be president anyway, and they were willing to violate the law and the Constitution and the basic tenets of democracy to turn this into a dictatorship under Donald Trump's rule? Do you believe that that's what millions of people who continue to support Donald Trump wanted to do? Do you believe that that's what the thousands and tens of thousands of people that were there wanted to do? I don't think you do. And if you do, let me offer you just a couple of brief points to let you see that that might not be the case. Because Donald Trump stood up on stage before he sent people off to the Capitol. And do you know what he told them? Let me tell you what he didn't tell them. He didn't tell them, yeah, I lost. Yeah, this guy beat me. But I've got an ace up my sleeve. I got you guys. And you guys are going to head down to the Capitol. And you're going to take hostages. And you're going to make sure that this goes my way anyway. One way or another, I'm going to win this race. That's not what he told them. What he told them was that he won. What he told them was he got 63 million votes in 2016. He got 75 million votes 4 years later. He told them, he asked them, do you really believe the other guy got 81 million votes? He talked about the size of his rallies. Everybody was excited. Do you remember that kind of excitement around Joe Biden? He used a mixture of anecdotes, and then he laid out some facts, which may not have been accurate, but he laid out a case. He made a case to convince the people that were there that they weren't going to steal an election. They weren't marching down to the Capitol to steal the election. They were marching down to the Capitol to stop the steal from happening, to stop an election from being stolen. That's what he told them, and he laid out cases. He laid out a case for it. He talked about rules being changed in violation of the law. He talked about the states were waiting for the votes to be kicked back to them so they can recertify them properly. He told them that the state governments and the state electors wanted to re-vote because they realized that fraud, there was a massive fraud committed, and they wanted to correct it. That's what he told them. Yes, he lied to them, but they believed him. Because they've been believing him this time, because they didn't believe the media that didn't show that any kind of interest in them, any kind of concern for them. It's like that person that felt so special when that person shows up in their life and telling them that they're the most beautiful, the most handsome. They're enchanted. And it doesn't matter what their father, their mother, their brother, their sister, entire family can tell them this person is using you, this person is lying to you. It doesn't matter. All that matters is the way this person makes them feel. And that's why they would just shun everybody else, tune everybody else out, and whatever this person says is what they believe, because they want to believe it. That's how thoroughly he manipulated them. I just ask you to consider that. Just consider it. Because if you consider that possibility, then maybe you consider the possibility that the Trump supporter you know, the Trump supporter that may have been your friend before, the Trump supporter that may be your spouse, maybe they're not evil. Maybe they just got conned. And maybe it could happen to most of us. Thank you for checking out this episode. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.